6 o'clock, we're going to go and get started with our meeting. I'd like to welcome everybody here tonight. We've got a full house. As we go through our agenda tonight, if you're on the agenda and after you speak, if you would like to leave, you can, but you're more than welcome to stay for our whole meeting. We do have quite a bit to talk about tonight. Rob Taylor, Commissioner Taylor, will not be here tonight. He's under the weather. So if you'll please join me in a moment of silence as we pray for our town. If you'll please stand with me and face the flag and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. So the first item on the agenda is our conflict of interest statement. Al, I'm going to get you to read that for us.
Thank you, Mayor. Pursuant to North Carolina general statutes and the town's code of ethics policy, I ask each elected official, before you adopt the agenda, if there is any actual, potential, or perceived conflicts of interest with respect to any matter on the proposed agenda, which will come before this board for consideration or decision at this meeting. If so, please speak up and tell the board at this time before the agenda is adopted. Thank you.
So with that, none coming before us, we just need to adopt the agenda. Are there any additions or deletions?
Second.
We have a motion from Carl and a second from Justin. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? So the agenda is adopted. Next on our agenda is our citizen comments. If there's anybody here tonight that would like to make a comment about the town or about something that might be on your mind about the town, we'll give you 3 minutes to step up to the podium and just speak whatever you might be thinking about. So if there's nobody here that would like to speak, then we'll close the citizen comments and we'll go right to the next item, which is a public hearing. We have a public hearing tonight about our community development block grant. I'm going to ask Michael Walser if he'll step up and explain what that is to us.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the board. SBA Home, which is formerly known as Project Root, is a furniture manufacturer based in Lithuania, and they supply their products to IKEA. They are expanding their operations into North America. This will be their first operation here, and they're coming to Mocksville, so we're excited about that. They'll be moving into a 500,000 square foot facility at 134 Gildown Drive. The company expects to invest over the next 4 to 5 years approximately $50.8 million and hire 250 new jobs. The North Carolina Department of Commerce has provided a proposal to the company and has offered them a $750,000 grant to the town to assist the company with their retrofits to the building. The Rural Infrastructure Authority Board, which is an appointed board at the Department of Commerce, has the final approval of this project at their meeting on February 20th. This public hearing is required in order for the town to submit the final application pending that approval by that Rural Infrastructure Authority Board.
Okay. So with it being a public hearing, then we'll need to open it up to the public for comments. So at this time, I'll open it up to the public. If there's anybody that would like to speak against this community development block grant, you're welcome to stand up and speak against it. Or if there's anybody that would like to speak in favor of it. If not, then I'll close the public hearing. We'll actually go to the board during our new business under action items A and B to approve this, and Michael will speak to it at that time. Next on our agenda is our proclamations. We have a recognition of Jeff Lagle, who is retired. He retired on February 1st of this year. Let it be entered into the minutes that there's a proclamation on behalf of Jeff Lagle. He spent many years with the town and our Public Works Department, and he will be missed. He couldn't be with us tonight, but we appreciate all of his years of service. Next, we'll have Raina with a surplus report for July 2024 to December 2024.
Good evening, Mayor and Board. On page 6 is the surplus report for July 2024 through December 2024, well, January 2025. And if you have any questions.
Any questions for Raina on the surplus report? Okay. Thank you, Raina.
You're welcome.
Next, we have Eric Thomas with DFI.
Thank you for having me here tonight. Let's see, I'm gonna pull up the presentation. All right, great. Well, thank you for having me. I'm here to provide an update on the downtown project, the former Energy United parcels in downtown. Tonight, I'm going to give you an update on our key stakeholder engagement conversations and also our market analysis for the redevelopment and the feasibility study of those parcels. Tonight, I'll give you an overview of the parcel and market analysis, talk about the project overview, stakeholder input on the project, the market analysis summary, and then talk about our next steps, DFI's next steps on this project. Just as a recap in terms of our scope of services, DFI was engaged in October of 2024 to evaluate the feasibility for private redevelopment of the former Energy United parcels just around the corner from this site right here. Our process, this unfolding box, is essentially the process that a private developer would look at when evaluating the feasibility for development of a site. They would take into consideration market analysis, site constraints and opportunities, financial feasibility, building out financial pro formas, and then come to a feasible project, whether it's a feasible project or not, based on a whole set of different elements like the market analysis and the site analysis. What also part of DFI, as part of UNC Chapel Hill School of Government, we take into consideration the stakeholder input. So we've had lots of conversations with key stakeholders in downtown Mocksville to understand interest of the development of this site in downtown. All of this is going to lead to a financial feasibility model for the development of the site, as well as then providing you all recommendations for how you could go ahead and develop this site, whether it's attracting private development or just realizing your public goals for the development of this site. So I'm going to give you a little bit of background about the project site. I'm sure you all are very familiar with the site itself, but the overall project site here outlined in yellow, it's 5.4 acres. There are 2 office buildings on the site that have roughly 8,000 square feet of office space. The town acquired these parcels in 2024 for roughly $2 million. That was state funds so for the acquisition. You right now have the farmers market on the site, and it is town center zoning, so it's part of your downtown district. Other elements and notes worth mentioning, there were former mills on the site, 2 of those that were demolished in 2023, and the town is currently leasing back the electric pole storage area in the back to Energy United. This just gives you the outline and a little bit of context of the site. There in dashed are the mills that were demoed. You have the fire station and public works just to the west and the south of the site. You have the vacant town-owned building, which is in the southwest corner, that was acquired. You have the Town Education Center, 3,500 square feet on South Salisbury Street. And then you have the Cognition Kids Museum, just up North Salisbury Street. Providing a little bit more context of what's going on around the project site. On the north side of the development site, you have a couple large parcels owned by a private individual, about 4.1 acres there that surround the project on the north side and the west side of the project site. You have a church that recently acquired 3 parcels there on North Salisbury Street. And then you also have a retail storefront also on North Salisbury Street that was acquired in 2021. So some of these properties have shifted hands just on North Salisbury Street above this project site. Stakeholder input. As I mentioned in our feasibility assessment in our scope of services, we wanted to understand really what the community and really key stakeholders in downtown, those that are active in the community, were hoping to achieve in downtown. What would they like to see so they can understand how to craft a development strategy that reflects community's interests. One, what we heard is increased housing stock. There is belief that there's more demand for downtown rental units. There are some, and I'll talk about that in a little bit, that have been successful in the downtown core, and that more residential units can support more retail is the thinking behind that. Desire for townhomes or market rate rental units. And that also, as I mentioned, the residential in downtown is important to supporting downtown businesses. Second, what we heard is expanding retail spaces. Right now, there is a significant amount of retail in downtown Mocksville. There's low vacancy, and I'll touch on that in a minute and what that means. And so there's belief that there's also demand for more retail space in the downtown core. The stakeholders that we spoke to said that incorporating retail into this development site would be a priority. Also, if there was a mixed-use development on the site, say residential with ground floor retail below it, they'd like to see vibrant uses of retail. That means restaurants, boutique shops, maybe not the services-oriented auto retail that exists on the Salisbury Street corridor currently. And then third, what we heard about the development priorities of the site is increasing public open space, creating some destination in downtown Mocksville for the community to gather, to hold festivals, concerts, etc. We know there's been significant investments in public open space within the county recently. The Davie County Community Park has an incredible concert venue and has seen significant investment, but the stakeholders feel that there's room for more investment in public open space within the downtown core. As part of that, it's improving the sidewalk and streetscapes along West Depot and Salisbury Street, increasing the public parking options that exist within the downtown core, and then also potentially establishing a park public gathering space for the community. I want to highlight here this map of ownership of the downtown core right now. Is my cursor here. Dark blue is town of Mocksville owned, and green is Davie County. So you can see there's a significant amount of public ownership on the southern half of downtown Mocksville. And then you do have limited public amenities and assets in the downtown core in terms of public gathering and public uses. You have the farmers market, the Main Street Park here on the North Main Street, and then you do have a town-owned parking lot here just off of North Main Street on Horn Street. So I'm going to dive into our market analysis summary. Again, this is going to give you a snapshot at really the demand for certain product types over the next 5 years for downtown Mocksville. First, we're going to start with retail. Household growth is really driving demand for retail over the next 5 years. We're seeing demand for up to 70,000 square feet of new retail in the market area over the next 5 years. Average rents right now for retail, they're $10.25 a square foot. There's 6% vacancy in Class A and B space. There's 0 square feet under construction. And something really worth noting with Mocksville is it's what's called in the real estate sector is a leakage of sales. People are leaving Mocksville to spend their money in communities outside of Mocksville. So there's a lot of money of potential sales that are leaving Mocksville to go out to eat, to go buy goods and services. So we've seen a lot of that within the Mocksville community in terms of money getting spent outside of the Mocksville trade area. There are really primarily 3 types of retail that exist within the Mocksville trade area. You have the downtown storefronts. Right now, those average rents for downtown retail spaces are about $9.50 a square foot. And you have the higher valued retail spaces are the low-rise shopping centers and the highway-oriented product that are headed out towards the highway. Taking a look at downtown, in blue, these are the retail spaces in your downtown core. And in that black hatch are the vacant properties. Right now we're seeing 250,000 square feet roughly of retail square footage, at $9.50 on average for rent, 4% vacancy. You do have significant investments and successful businesses in this downtown core area of Mocksville. I wanted to highlight here in this square, this is generally where you're seeing that active, vibrant retail. Now our project site, we are on the west side of downtown Mocksville. You have different types of retail on Salisbury Street and Depot Street on the west side. You have phone, you have a gas station mechanic here on the north side of the street, and then you have another, semi-used, underutilized retail space on North Salisbury Street near their project corner. So a different type of feel of retail on our side of downtown versus the downtown core, which is worth noting when you think about the success of retail for a project on our site. Jumping to office, medical office and manufacturing are really driving job growth in Davie County over the next 5 years. We know you all have been very successful in attracting manufacturing, just the project IKEA furniture facility. We've projected out to be 45,000 square feet of office demanded over the next 5 years. Now, this is office-prone jobs. These aren't manufacturing jobs. These are attorneys, medical offices, those that would demand office space. We're seeing on average $17.50 a square foot for rents, low vacancy, 3.5% vacancy. We're seeing a minimal amount of square foot under construction, 1,700 square feet. But worth noting with office is that with hybrid work, the speculative office market is very risky right now. There's not a lot of banks that are lending to office products. There's still a lot of uncertainty of going back to work in the office and what does that mean. And so right now, in terms of risk potential for different development projects from a real estate development perspective, it's the highest risk right now because of the uncertainty around office product. In terms of the office in the downtown in Mocksville area, we're really seeing again really three types of offices. Downtown storefronts. What's unique about the downtown storefronts in Mocksville? These are a lot of tenant owned or owner occupied spaces. So there's not a lot of people that are own building and then leasing out to office users. You're also seeing build to suit out parcels where you're essentially building to a specific tenant like a bank or a medical office. And then you do see these medical office type buildings that are getting constructed due to the significant need for medical space projecting on the future. Zooming into downtown specific, we've seen about 100,000, 110,000 square feet of office space, on average that $12 per square foot for rents, and then 11% vacancy, a little higher vacancy in office space than in retail space. I just want to highlight a few of these office products in the downtown core. Now I'm going to move over to single family residential. Single family subdivision development has been this is the most in-demand product going forward in Davie County, and I looked at Davie County as a whole over the next 5 years. We're seeing demand for over 1,600 single-family homes over the next 5 years in the trade area. Median sale price in the Mocksville area in 2024 was $350,000 for new homes. Right now, there's 130 homes listed on the market. That's less than 1% of the total supply of housing within Davie County. So the supply is very constrained, and those that are looking for homes are finding it very hard to find a product because of how few homes are on the market. And that's why developers are interested in building these subdivisions, like you see in this bottom right-hand image. Also worth noting, and I'll show you in the next couple slides, is 860 single-family homes were permitted in 2022, since 2022. And I'll show you the heat map of really where this development activity is happening. Worth noting, there are some townhomes that have been developed in the Bermuda Run area, so the higher density single-family residential product has been gaining traction and being more of interest in development in the last few years. New construction home prices are priced really in that $325,000 to $450,000 plus range. Here are just a few examples of recent single-family home sales in the area. I'm not going to go through the addresses of each of these, but one sold for $325,000 in December 2024, one for $334,000 in January, just a few weeks ago. And then this townhome product here on the right side, $230,000 for a townhome up near Bermuda Run. So this is what I was talking about in terms of those permits of single-family home construction since 2022. This is a heat map. This isn't a topo map. I know it might be a confusing map here, but what you're seeing in terms of these yellow areas, these are high concentration of permits in terms of the single-family permits. And now we have downtown Mocksville here. So the brighter the yellow, the more homes that have been constructed in that area the last few years. These align with Twin Brook Village, Hudson Glen, and then Braden up at Bermuda Run. Now you can see I didn't capture all of the developments that have occurred here, but just wanted to highlight a few of these. Also worth knowing, there's significant residential projects in the pipeline. There's the Hall Walker project up near Bermuda Run, which is very contentious. It's multifamily and townhome development. You have Nelson's Creek here, which is 380 single-family lots in this area. And then I know there's been from Davie County Economic Development Office a large tract of land identified in the southern portion of town that has very suitable for a significant amount of development. So you can see here, there's more projects in the pipeline too, in terms of residential development in the trade area. I'm going to jump over to multifamily product. We studied multifamily. What's interesting here with multifamily is there hasn't been any new product developed in Mocksville in terms of market rate multifamily since 1988. But what we're seeing is there's demand for up to 110 multifamily units in Davie County over the next 5 years. Here are the stats. Average rents are $1.47 per square foot per month. Vacancy is over 10%. which is not great in terms of multifamily vacancy. You'd like to see that at the 6-7%. But that's because a new product came online in recent years, which is a little slow to lease up. There has been 322 units constructed since 2020. Those are, again, in the Bermuda Run area. And I'll touch on those products here. Ariston Place is the newest product up in Bermuda Run, 100 units roughly, and that's that slow to lease up product. You have Comet Bermuda Run, which is 224 units, $1.56 per square foot rents, and 4% vacancy. And then I just wanted to highlight one of the Mocksville multifamily market rate products, which is Sunset Terrace, built in 1984. Again, the newest product was built in 1988 in terms of market rate products. New multifamily that's been delivered since 2015. So in this gold color, these are the market rate products. In orange, these are low-income housing tax credit developments. These are developments targeting low to moderate income households. So Mocksville has seen 2 new developments since 2015. And I do want to note that there is a significant amount of cost-burdened households throughout Davie County. Over 3,000 cost-burdened households, meaning they're spending more than 30% of their income on housing-related expenses. Both homeowners and renters are feeling that. So I know it wasn't really an interest to see affordable housing as part of the development interest for the site, but it is worth noting that there is demand for that type of housing also in Davie County and in Mocksville also. Zooming into downtown in terms of rental units, we do have 3 projects, or there might be a few more, but there's approximately 20 units in upper floors in downtown Mocksville. Rents are ranged from $650 up to $1,500, and there's 0% reported vacancy. So all of those units in downtown are filled up based on reporting. So that's a good sign in terms of people living downtown and a demand and supposedly a waiting list to get into these buildings when units do come available. So what does that all mean in terms of opportunity for the site, for the project site? So again, this is the outline of the project site, the 5.4 acres. The stakeholder interest was increased housing stock, multifamily residential. There is low vacancy in downtown, which suggests demand for more product. The lower rents in Mocksville versus, say, the greater trade area up to Bermuda Run does pose challenges to realizing a development, knowing that if you lower rents with where construction costs are, the feasibility for the development, we don't know if it's there yet. We'll get to financial feasibility in our next set, but it's something that we're thinking about right now. And then something worth noting, this is not a very clean and easy site in terms of its shape. It kind of juts in and out. It's an odd site, and that there are 2 office buildings in purple here and here. So think about those office buildings and this kind of hourglass-like shape to it. You're left with smaller developable areas in terms of achieving development on the site. And so that's something that we'll be thinking about as we move forward with different product types. Single family residential, we're seeing high demand for this product in this trade area in terms of ownership and single family. This site could accommodate townhome product. The zoning would allow it, but again, noting with those office buildings in purple, that those and just the shape of the site itself could limit the potential number of units that you can get of development on this site. In terms of expanding retail space, in terms of that interest from the key stakeholders, low retail vacancy downtown, and a significant pipeline of single-family residential development suggests that there will be demand for more retail going forward. Again, the low rents in downtown versus the rest of the trade area could pose a challenge to supporting cost of new construction. We'll be studying that. And then I did mention, this is Salisbury Street, very different than the North Main Street Court Square area in terms of retail types. This will have to pull people and retail uses from that downtown core over this way. This site isn't much of a retail corridor right now, and so we'll have to think about that in terms of the risk associated with development of retail on the site versus, say, in the downtown area. But just something that we're noting. And then increase public open space. Again, going back to those key stakeholders' interests in downtown. This site could accommodate a park or open space and parking to support downtown. Public open space and parking, if, say, you were interested in developing a park or open space on this site, that would limit, much like those office buildings, limit the potential of development of this site in terms of amount of program. So just worth noting. But what I do want to note here is that open space and that parking could also be a driver to supporting some of these other uses on the site and making it more attractive for people to come down this way. We've seen a lot of development in North Carolina recently with the community investing in a park, open space, and then having a private developer come alongside it in adjacent property to make a private development adjacent to a public investment in, say, an amenity or infrastructure downtown. Again, something we'll be thinking about. So what I want to open it up, and I know you have a packed agenda, and I hope to hear from you a little bit tonight, and I don't want it to all be me, but it's really more of a discussion about the market information and how does that market information with these key stakeholder conversations and interests of housing stock, expanding retail space, increasing public open space, what sticks with you all, what's of interest of you all to explore further on this site in downtown?
Retail housing stock is definitely that concept, apartment, retail below. And we're too early in to know whether we would raise those buildings that we already own. Could make a difference. Or if we acquired other ones that are nearby, could make a difference on how that all, or partnerships with other organizations in the area, such as Community Foundation, Cognition, and how that might all tie into a greater project here, or into the product, or the product above, as you referred to earlier, the Tom Brown property that we know as. It's hard to know. Those all issues could all come into play, but we hear a lot about additional retail space, housing stock as well in that area. And downtown is a little fluid right now, but it's filling back up, and we've got a couple vacancies, but not a whole lot. So that would be a nice extension, to be able to come down in some way or another.
So you said that North Main Street is full in that area. Do you think it'll be difficult to pull folks down to this section even if you do have a nice restaurant or have some?
I think it'll have to be a creative type of retail to draw people down. I don't think there's an energy in downtown in terms of if I were to locate a business in downtown Mocksville, I would want to be close to where there's an energy of other retail users and the traffic exists. This street, I haven't looked at traffic counts yet, but I know just from the uses that exist on Salisbury Street, there is a great public use. Cognition is on the street, so you have these other uses that are driving people that way. But in terms of retail likes to work next to each other. And so right now you don't have that on the street. So there might be other, when we're talking about open space, a retail space, the museum, I think you can start to get some really good complementary uses down there. But we're gonna have to, see some creative strategy to lure people down this way from what's going on in Court Square and North Main Street.
It'd be interesting to see too what private development might be interested, what national entities might be interested in regarding food, venue type things. Clemens is a great example on the new side, I call it, across the bridge. It was done much better than the other side. But there's a lot there that gives pause to look at those kind of possibilities of what restaurants, what eateries, what might come into that area if it's shown as a bigger project. Then that would draw people.
Yeah.
To be able to share all things within the downtown and to the side, or if we ultimately looked at street expansion, depot runs to the end, if it ran through, there's all kinds of possibilities of how that might look on a greater scope. Because it's a little choppy right now the way it's.
Yeah, and my opinion before we get into our site analysis and financial feasibility modeling, which is our next step, is this site with the shape of it right now, it would be challenged to be able to attract a partner to realize a project of, say, the ground floor retail with the multifamily above. That's the priority of the board here and of the community. The site doesn't offer a great opportunity for that right now, just based on sort of initial take. Now, we're going to study that, but there might be a recommendation might be strategic, these office buildings here that you have are there better uses for these sites than these low-profile, single-story office buildings? So we're going to get into that in terms of how to make this project and the site as attractive as possible to realizing all your interests. Is there anything else from you all that sticks from this list of, and really this is more just about the priorities of development for the site in terms of housing, retail, and potentially open space?
I would like to see Depot Street extended through there. I think it'll, and I'm not opposed to removing the buildings that are on the property. But I would definitely like to see Depot extended and brought out in front of Ingersoll Rand. Open up a lot of developable land.
Right.
That changes your whole trajectory on what that might look like on those boundaries.
Yeah,
As
and
far
I know
as
that
if-
has
so
been,
if we
I think
raise
that's
those
been
buildings-
studied at some level before previously, and so
Yeah.
we'll take that in consideration when we get into our site analysis. That's a cost, right, of a road extension like that, and so that comes into this cost benefit. The benefit of providing better access, but the cost of that infrastructure piece will have to be evaluated.
Would your thought be to bring back some additional thought on that? What that might look like if it outlined differently with those buildings down, or in theory?
If these are down, and then you have this Depot Street extended through, what that impact would do for the site? Yeah, I mean, we'll help to evaluate that. And I think I don't know right off the top of my head of what does that mean in terms of what developable area does this open, what better access does this provide to the site, what kind of programs can be achieved. But that'll be part of our next set of work on this project, is evaluating the site studies.
Any other questions? Eric, thank you.
Great. Well, I just want to let you all know, just briefly, our next steps, as I mentioned, is site analysis. So we're going to evaluate the site based on a lot of different development scenarios, but we're going to include multifamily, single-family, retail, open space, and also the preservation of those office buildings. We'll look at keeping them, also not, just to see what that does to the development program of the site. And then what we're going to do on top of that is build out financial pro formas, financial models, projecting, do we have projects here that are attractive for private developers? If not, what kind of tools does the local government have to bring together a public-private partnership potentially on this site to realize your goals?
Okay. Thank you for bringing all that to us.
Yeah,
I
great,
appreciate
thank you.
Okay, lot to digest there.
Yeah.
So next on our agenda, we have Wyvetti. It's here tonight. Paige Quisenberry.
Good evening. I'm going to be talking about our microtransit that we have here in Mocksville. So what is a microtransit? It is a shared technology-enabled public transportation system with flexible routing options based on real-time trip demand. Trip scheduling, real-time vehicle tracking, and fare payment are incorporated into smartphones applicated, but as of right now, we don't have credit card options. Flexible routing and pickup drop-off locations within the designated area. And there's a map included that kind of shows the area of Mocksville that we service. About Wyvetti's Mocksville NC Microtransit. The area of operation is within the Mocksville town limits. Hours of operations are Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Currently, the fleet is comprised of about 3 buses that are wheelchair lift equipped and ADA compliant. Each vehicle has a capacity of 12 to 14 ambulatory riders. Our professional transit drivers are highly vetted and trained in ADA compliance, have completed the passenger assistance and sensitivity training, and meet all Department of Transportation regulatory requirements. Wyvetti Microtransit serves entire populations. We serve all demographic groups that require transportation. Below are a few of the demographic groups typically utilizing the microtransit service. We have elderly populations, disabled populations, students, employees of local businesses and factories, and people without cars. Methods to schedule rides and the cost. So there's 3 ways you can schedule. You can call by phone like we've always done in the past. There is a website that you can go to with CTS Rider Portal, which is essentially the mobile app you can download, but you still want to call before so they can kind of walk you through those steps. There's 3 ways you can pay: cash, $1 per boarding. Weekly pass is $10 for 25 trips within the same week. Monthly pass is $30 and you get up to 100 trips per month. YVETI nonprofit funding request. So the fiscal year 24, the route provided 10,954 rides, and YVETI respectfully requests 10,000 for Mocksville for FY26 to leverage matching county, state, federal funds to help sustain the Mocksville microtransit.
Do you remember, how much did we do last year?
I have no idea, I'm new.
Brandon, okay.
10.
Well,
I'm sorry.
10, okay. Any questions for Paige?
I have a question, only because my granddaughter asked me just last week.
Okay.
How early do you have to call to make an appointment? Like to get on the schedule?
Yeah, I would say a few days would probably be perfect.
Okay.
Yeah. A day
She's
at the
just
latest,
curious.
probably, yeah.
Curious 12-year-old.
Any other questions for Paige? Not Paige, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Next on our agenda is Habitat for Humanity. Jesse?
How's everybody doing?
Just fine, thank you.
Well, I really appreciate you having me here tonight. It's been 2 years since we last spoke, and last time we were here, we were telling you about all the wonderful things we were hoping to do. I had been hired about 6 months earlier, me and my team and I, and so we were looking to reorganize and revamp Habitat Davie. And tonight I'm very excited to tell you a little bit about what we've been up to in the community. And of course, after this, if you ever have questions, anyone ever wants to grab a coffee or anything and really let me deep dive into all the Habitat things, I'd love to tell you more about our organization. What is still the same is our mission statement, of course, seeking to put God's love into action. Habitat for Humanity brings people together, build homes, community, and hope, and we have a vision where everyone has a simple, decent place to call home. So we have been building and repairing homes in Davie County. When we last spoke was February of 2023, and by August of 2023, we had finished our home and had our new partner family in it, living with her 3 young boys, and it was a very awesome, exciting project. We brought different volunteers from all over. Mayor Markland was there for the dedication. We had about 70 people there whenever we finished the home to present it to the family and bless it and all that good stuff. We had volunteers come out from Reeb, Davie Construction, some local churches, local Rotary, Mocksville Rotary, the Davie Medical Center, so many different individuals that came out and spared their time. And it was just a really big community build. Energy United also came out. They came out on this build as well that we're actually working on now. It was just very exciting to have all that momentum behind it, spent a little time on the restore, and then started this project. This is actually our second home you're looking at here over the summer. So in July, we started getting the foundation in, and by end of August, we began having volunteers on the project. You can see our current partner family, Casey, in the red up there. Our families, when they're out there on the build, they're required to do 250 hours of sweat equity. That's how much time they spend building their own home. And then, of course, once they finish their home, they're going to purchase it. And I'll show you in a second how we make that affordable for them. But this build was just really cool, too. You can see the bunch of students right there. That's actually in the back of our restore at the bottom. That was an English as a second language class that we partnered with the Davidson Davie Community College on, where it was set up for them to come out to our restore, help us build our wall components, lay out plates, build the windows and doors, that sort of thing, learn English and math while helping us build the home. And they spent about a month with us. They actually got to come to the job site once we got it ready as well. And that was just really neat. And all that is to say is we're not just building houses. We're actually building the community by having these wonderful volunteers out. We're about a month out from being done on this project. We're hoping the family will be able to close I'd say end of March, hopefully, is kind of what we're looking at there. So it's been very exciting. So that's 2 projects so far. And then we've also been, this is Jess, our first homeowner. That's what the house will look like. We use the same plan, and it's over here about 5 minutes in the Crestwood neighborhood is our second home. The other one was in Ridgemont, right around the corner. But they've been doing really great. We actually hired Jess's oldest son to help in our restore as well, helping on the truck. So it's just really, we've been very close with that family and are really seeing their successes. So not only have we been working on new construction projects, we've also had our eyes open to all the critical repair needs here in the county because, unfortunately, not everyone is able to purchase a new home, right? And some folks just need help with the home they're living in. And so we are out in the community doing critical home repairs. They just got a couple examples here to show you, but I could show you 13 because that's how many we've done since we last spoke. We're very excited about that. We have initially started the program through a grant through the Davie Community Foundation. And then we've since continued the program through some funding through Energy United. And this is for anyone who is unaware or knows someone who may need critical home repairs. Energy United has some funding set aside where you can go online, apply for it. As long as you meet their income requirements, you can actually gain access to up to $10,000 if you're a family of 2 or more. And then use subcontractors out in the community that you have found. You have to send in quotes and all bills and income and all that sort of thing. But what we've been doing is since they came out and volunteered with us on our new construction project, we made this connection and we've been sitting with families and helping them apply for those funds, and then we're the contractor to do the work. Or we sub it out to someone before we had the capacity to do that in-house. And it's kind of a win-win for everyone there. And so this is just a quick example of one of our projects. This was one of our easiest ones, to be honest. I mean, you simply needed to take the stairs off, build them, which we did in the back of our restore. We had the homeowner's son come out actually and help out on this project, putting that sweat equity in. We had volunteers working on it as well, and they did this in a day, and it cost, I can't remember exactly, this was about 2 years ago, or a year and a half ago, but less than $1,000, maybe right there at it, to do this project, and it made the home accessible for the family. They just simply had no money set aside. We have these families who are living on fixed incomes, living, check to check, and they just no extra income to work on these sorts of things. This was one of the worst ones. I won't even say it's the worst one that we've worked on, but to be honest, I don't know how long they were living with that hole in their ceiling. We were able to come in, and this was when we actually split between some of that funding from the foundation and some individuals in the community, because this was more than a $10,000 project, and we did it in phases. But we were able to come in, fix the roof, fix this hole in the wall or hole in the ceiling, and we've since come back late 2024, and we did the flooring repairs in the home, pretty much so all the floors. And I'm not great at taking pictures. I'm getting better on some of these projects, so you can tell, but all the floors kind of look like this. Once we opened it up, the joists were just rotted out. There was kind of just mush underneath there, and we have made them look newish again. And so we have done, that was the kitchen area. This was the bedroom. Once again, you really can't tell, like this dresser on the left-hand side was literally leaning like this if you had a bigger picture of it. And when we opened it up, the bed was about to literally fall through the floor, and we came in and redid all the flooring there as well. So these are very impactful projects. Once again, this is just 2 of the 13 that we've done. We have at least 2 or 3 in our pipeline right now that we're either have just gotten funding for in the process of it. And I've since hired a construction manager since we last spoke, which has been very exciting because now I can focus more on long-term planning for our affiliate, looking for grants, looking for these community partners so we can do more. And I have a field guy who's working on all this stuff. And so we're very excited with all that growth. Last but not least, we have our restore, who I'm sure a lot of you have been over to see. And to be honest, it's more than just a store there too. I mean, I'm biased, but we really try and make it a community place for folks to come in. We had a fall festival this year. We host the Davie Humane Society quite often. There's a new women's group in Davie County called the Davie Women's Auxiliary, and they've really been a propeller of us to go and serve the community. They did a poinsettia sale for us this year. We did our first Christmas dinner fundraiser with them. That's them on the right-hand side. And they host a lot of their meetings in our restore. And we actually just got told we're going to be the charity classic golf tournament recipient this year over and Advance and Bermuda Run. And so we're just getting out in the community more and finding these partnerships, and we're just very blessed and excited. This is just a quick snippet. I won't go into too much detail because I want to be respectful of your time. But this is an example of a family that we serve in terms of household income level. Typically could be like around 38,000. That's who we've seen in our pipeline recently. Let's say the home appraises for $220,000. And let's say the family has a monthly debt of $250,000. And this is going to show you, it runs down and says, okay, we know that based on this family's income, we don't want them paying more than the 30% of their income towards their housing. We don't want their debt to income ratio, which is their monthly debt, plus their mortgage payment to be more than 43%. So what does that mean? It pops out a sales price of we cannot sell this $220,000 appraised house for more than $185,000. And if you run throughout all that, it tells you how the mortgage is broken up and how we make that work for the family. But at the end, what we make off of that is about $25,000, and that's wonderful, but also not a huge amount to go out and find more land, develop land, start the construction project, that sort of thing. And so with all the kind of numbers in mind, we're asking some of the same things, partner with us through awareness and advocacy, and include us in support and future planning. And then, if there's help that can be done through land acquisition, development, infrastructure, if there's dilapidated properties out here that we could talk about maybe rehabbing. Last year, you all gave $10,000, and we were greatly appreciative of that. And a lot of it, I think it had to specifically go to utilities. And that has been super helpful. And I'm just graciously asking that you might expand that a little bit to $15,000 and help out with just any of these costs, whether it be the critical repairs. If there's specifics, we'll do whatever we want to with us with it. But then also if there's broader, we have lots of needs in the community, and we just, yeah.
Any questions for Jess? Jesse, thank you for coming out. Appreciate all that you brought to us tonight. So next on our agenda here is cognition. Candy Poplin and Bill Steve.
I just got to be first because Candy's going to give you the bulk and the most important part of this presentation, so I get to do the introductory remarks. We appreciate the opportunity to be before you tonight, Mayor and Commission members. I think you all know, and you've heard cognition mentioned a few times tonight in other presentations. We're in a great location, as you know, next to the foundation office. We're going through some changes. We're making some changes and significant changes. I will tell you that we weren't where we wanted to be, and as a result, the board made some changes. We have a total new board. We have 11 board members. It's on here, and if you want to flip through here and find these things, you'd be on the Emily, you'd be on the end of the program if I did it. So there's that, and but we've met several times, and there's an awful lot of energy in that room right now. Lots of good things going. I will say this, back in the spring, there was a challenge made to that board to fully make this work and come out where we wanted it to be, to raise $100,000 before the end of the year. And that was with a challenge grant with Mebane. And by the 31st of December, we had met that challenge. So we have raised that amount of money in that period of time. We're excited about that. And the meetings are very energetic. We're all about moving this project on. This is a great opportunity for this community. Obviously, we're about long-term learning, and we want this to be available for not only the Davie County community, but also communities around us. So we're in the process of that. Couple of things.
Go back, Emily, we're not helping.
Yeah, we'll find out. We can live. But the, one of the things that we've got to do right now, we have hired, we've hired an executive director. We're looking for an executive director. We've hired, two other positions. And, so we're ready to move forward, but we need an exec. That's the main thrust right now we're looking at. So as soon as we can get that, get a person going full-term, planning on that and working in that role every day, we think is gonna be a great thing. So for those reasons, we think this is, again, a great opportunity. Lots of things, it was interesting for me to hear that about what's going on in the county, knowing all of that, and that was very interesting for me. I've been here a while, and to see those kinds of things happening. And it's time for the growth to start coming down here. So hopefully that'll be able to be done and accomplished through the results of your study. But the most important part of the presentation is now from Candy.
Well, let me just say, I don't know if you saw those names on that board list, and Emily's gonna help me. Take that back. A lot of those people are in this room. They didn't have to come today, but that shows you the commitment. Would you just raise your hand if you are currently on the Cognition Board and you have worked hours and hours and hours with me and with Kim Crawford to what we call Cognition 2.0. We have restructured, we have revamped, and we have hired some awesome part-time people. The site coordinator, part-time, education coordinator, dynamite lady, part-time. But what we need is an executive director that will lead us and move us forward for the next 3 years. We have just completed a huge strategic plan for the next 3 years. Every board member there committed financially, time commitment, dedication. And if my name is on there, I'm gonna follow through. You know the name's on there. We're gonna make it happen. So I'm so excited to be here to share with you tonight that our mission and vision is still the same. From what it was the month before we opened and shut down for the pandemic for 2 years, our mission is still the same. We are just getting started again and getting going, and we're rolling. So I want to share a few of the data points with you. Good. Thank you, Emily. So we did meet that challenge by Mebane and the foundation, and they've given us an additional $25,000 each. So we now have $150,000 to work with moving Cognition forward. And the most important thing from our strategic plan is we need an executive director. We have got to have a head honcho and a leader to pull us all together and move us into 25, 26, 27. And we're excited about that. We're looking. Next slide. So we met the challenge. And I want to tell you a little bit about what is coming through the doors. First of all, our board sat down and we looked and we're like, we are better in 2024 with people coming in, but we could do a whole lot better. What do we need to do? Well, the first thing we did is we extended our hours. We were open 30 hours, less than 30 hours a week. We're like, wait, how are we going to increase our visitors and our kids coming in if we're not open on a Saturday from 9 to 3 and sometimes on a Sunday? My grandkids come from Cary. I want to bring my grandkids. They come in on a weekend. Cognition's got to be open so that I can take my grandkids there, and they love it. I want you to see how many people from surrounding areas or the people that are coming. It's not just Davie County folks. We've got visitors coming from all around the Piedmont area, and we're tracking that. And we need to improve that. And as a result of those people coming into Cognition, guess what else they're doing when they come to Cognition? They're going on Main Street, finding a place to eat, or they're going down to the great rec center down there, checking out some things. So we're bringing people in, but we can do better, and we are. Thank you, Emily. One of the things I'm most proud of are the field trips. They are just fabulous. We have hired retired educators from Davie County Schools that I know personally, that I went after and I said, would you be interested in coming and helping us out on a field trip? And they're like, oh, I don't want to work full time, but that sounds fabulous because I love having my hands on those kids. And so those people have come in and partnered with us with our education coordinator, April, and our field trips are just dynamite. They are fabulous. So in 2024, you can see, we had 21 field trips with over 1,800 kids coming in. And you might say, well, Candy, how could you have field trips in July? That bar's way up there. We included our summer camps so that you could see that summer is important to us as well. So that number went way up in July because we have a lot of summer camps and we have a lot of participation. Okay, thank you. And these are some little bright faces that have come to the field trips recently. I just want you to look at the engagement that those kids have on their faces. I mean, they are into it. They are hands-on. They're learning. We're kind of tricking them that they're learning. They're playing. They think they're playing. But they're learning. They're meeting curriculum standards from their elementary schools, their middle schools, and they are having a great time. And that makes me happy to see that. Thank you. So birthday parties are big at Cognition. So you can see we hosted 69 in 2024. Look how many kids came. And sometimes, you think, well, who comes to birthday parties? Just kids? Well, no. Grandma and Grandpa from Raleigh come to Cognition on the kid's birthday. Grandma and Grandpa come from Wilmington because the birthday party is at Cognition, and they are totally impressed when they come in. And they learn about the town of Mocksville and Davie County when they come. And they're like, man, for a little small town, you guys got it going on here. So birthday parties are big. And we were up over 50% in 2024, 50% more in 50% over 2023 in 2024. So that is a big moneymaker for us, and it's a lot of fun, and parents love it. You got a kid that's got a birthday party in January, and there's snow on the ground, and you don't want those kids in your house. Where do you want to take them for a birthday party? You want to take them to Cognition, have a 2-hour great birthday party, and you don't have any cleanup to do. So this is big for us, and we are continuing to move forward with those. Thank you. So the Carnival and the Touch-A-Truck, that is our fundraiser for the year. And I think Brady McClamrock was the one that said that not one person that he asked about bringing in a vehicle in September of this past year told him no. So this community is about Cognition. It's about children. It's about how can we help. I would love to bring my dump truck. I would love to bring my front end loader. I would love to bring the fire truck. It was fabulous. And we made $12,000 in profit. And that's when we were in transition, folks. We were transitioning with employees, management, and our board stepped in and they made it happen, and it was fabulous. And we already have the date for next year, so put it on your calendar, or for this year, 2025. Hope to see you downtown, right in that space that they've been talking about. Well, upcoming events, because we've got such an active board and event planners and people that are dedicated, we've got things on the books for February, March, and April. So February, we are in the middle of celebrating Black History Month, and I'm so excited about our education coordinator, April, who has put together some fabulous weeks with all kinds of hands-on activities for kids. Beautiful displays. If you haven't been there recently, you need to go and see what all's going on. So each week, we are focusing on a different type of inventor, a mathematician, space and air physics. It's wonderful. In March, anybody ever heard of Taylor Swift? So March 8th, we're having Swiftie Day. And anybody from kindergarten up, you are invited to participate. We're hoping to bring in about 100 people that day. So get ready, restaurants in downtown Mocksville and everything else, because we've got big plans on March the 8th. So go on our website and take a look, because we're advertising right now. And then in April, let's just bring the bunnies and the chicks in, and let's have a little play date, and let's have some egg hunts, and let's just have a great time celebrating Easter in our community. So Dr. Bill Steed, you just come up here and be my closer. How about that?
That's what it says.
That's what it says. Close
We
it up.
greatly appreciate your time and certainly what you've done to assist not only this in the community, but this project as well. And we would like to ask for $20,000. Last year, I think it was 15. We're at 20. But we greatly appreciate what all you've done for us and everyone else. Thank you.
We have some goodies for you. We'll pass the bag around. We make these at Cognition, and the children love these. You pick out the one you want. Thank you again.
Thank you for coming. Appreciate it. And finally, on our list of presentations tonight, we have Sydney Suggs with the Arts Council.
While she's getting her PowerPoint up, I would like to say I drove the second graders to Cognition on Thursday, and it was really, we go every year, but it was really nice, very interesting, and the kids were a little bit more engaged, especially with the experiment with the gas.
Good evening. Thank you, Mayor and the council and Lynn for inviting me. And I would like to recognize my board because they are here tonight. Please stand. I want them to really see you. I've got the best of the best. Thank you for coming. Many years ago, about 1962, members of the Arts Council formed and they started meeting in people's homes. They did not have a place to really do a event. They would do it in churches. They met in the government buildings. They did formulate one of the best, and everybody still talks about it, Arts Alive, or outdoor festival, and they were known for that in this community. But their motto then and now, this is still ours, connecting people to the arts. We are your positive. When you start courting businesses to come here to Mocksville, you're riding by the Brock, you can point there and say, that's our Arts Council, and it's got a fabulous, fabulous theater on the inside. A lot of people call it the hidden gem, and definitely it looks a lot different than it used to. When I first saw it, the black plaster was coming down, it had the old wood seats, and if you wiggled just the right way, you got a splinter. So this was spearheaded. Jane can tell you all the glory stories on having it renovated. But the best thing, and this is a story I've heard from Dr. Slate, I've heard it from so many of that era. It was where the county and the town came together. Even today in our lobby is a huge, huge board. Both the town and the county are shown in partnership in that lobby. And people ask us, and we said it takes a village, it takes a whole county, and a lot of people, including school kids, to do a renovation. Doc Watson appeared at the Brock 3 times before his death in 2010. The last visit, right before he passed away, he sat in one of our theater seats and he said, "Gal, this is the best listening room in the Triad. To us, you can't get any better." What did we do this year? This past October in all of the schools, your Mocksville lad, Mark Daniels, who is known even in California for his school presentations, visited all 6 elementary schools, and he performed with his puppets and his magic, and all the kids, after they were through seeing this wonderful show, the way he puts the gym into an auditorium setting, they wanted to go to the resource center and check out every one of the books. So he is definitely one of your sons that needs to be tutored a lot. We also brought back to the 4th graders. This is one that the teachers really call us and ask us to bring back, and that's EBZB. And they do the, I hit the wrong button. Sorry. Hold on. They do a demonstration of putting the model of the glider together as they tell the story to the children of the 3 terrible Decembers they came to North Carolina. This year, we're going to add back the third grade bus-ins. This is where the third graders come over a 2-morning period and they get to see a live performance. We hear back from the teachers, we hear back from the parents. We invite homeschoolers to come and attend any of the events at the Brock. So the third grader homeschoolers will be coming back to the Brock this year. What else do we do? Artworks in Davie County. We provide connections to the professional artists. This particular piece here was purchased in the North Carolina Museum of Art. This is Ralph James, another homegrown boy. We also have a wonderful portrait artist that most all of you know, and that's Gerald Marion, and he lives on your North Main Street. We have connected in several areas throughout Mocksville artists, professional artists that will do murals. And now we've got quite the, if you drive around and start counting, there's quite a few murals in the area. Tim Trudgeon, he is well known throughout the country for his wood carvings. Also Chuck Miller, he is even invited to Easton. That is a high mark in the art world. Gay Poteet's known for her commissioned pottery. And in the gallery at the Brock, we are now very well known for wonderful exhibits. And having had a gallery myself, I can tell you, having shows, concerts where the artist work is seen before the show, intermission, and after, we sell a lot of the pieces. And we bring in art from the artist or from Winston-Salem, Yadkin, Iredell, Rowan, Mecklenburg, Raleigh. So this is where they come to your town, and they also send people that might be buying for corporate art programs to see the work. So you've got corporations coming into the Brock Gallery. We provide exhibits for children. Remember, not all children play basketball and play football. So this is where their chance to be highlighted for a talent that maybe they're not really recognized enough for, and to their parents realize, hey, maybe we need to support the art talent of our child. One particular exhibit we've had annually is the Photo in Dimension. This brings in amateur art by photographers, but also professional, and we team it up with three-dimensional art. This is one of the exhibits that we get calls on. We've already got calls this year wanting to know when it's going to happen, not only from the artist standpoint, but those that want to come and see the exhibit. There's a lot of Christmas gifts that's been bought during this exhibit. Next, we have the Photo Club, and we have a member of the Photo Club who is also a board member. They meet on the second Monday of each month. They have grown. They share technical, they share new equipment that can be purchased. They enjoy going on photo walks. They've gone to NASCAR events. They've gone to Grandfather Mountain. And each one of them has a different perspective on what they're looking to photograph. Okay, town of Mocksville, this is one that stops the traffic every year. It's so funny seeing how many people get out of their cars to go and look at the wonderful flying canvases. And it is also now, since we've added the small children and youth, parents kind of go, I've been to Mocksville more times now than I think I've been in my whole life. So you are getting people to notice the flags. We do need to purchase this year. We buy them in bulk from California. And of the 9 awards we give for youth through adult, we now give out $735 in awards. You have to do that for people to really want to come and participate. If you did it for nothing, we've tried that years and years ago, and it just doesn't seem to set as well with people unless you give them a little bit of an award. Beautiful, beautiful art, and they're all on summertime theme. One thing we'd like for you to consider, the board's already discussed this, we would like to bring back the fall flags. We did that one year, and we had you hang them from the end of September through the first weekend in November. That makes a big statement for your thousands and thousands of people that are coming to Halloween. We have them, of course, do it either in a Halloween or a fall theme. So think about that and let us know. We now provide art classes. This has been a real rewarding thing for both the teachers and the students. One thing we've got to bring back is community theater. For many reasons. It brings generations together. It helps to touch on issues that need to be discussed. It also allows for a way of these children learning public speaking. They learned responsibility, because if they lose their script, they get in a little bit of trouble with the director. We also, there is a blind girl in this picture, and we provide a way for children who have been autistic, behavior problems, and also handicapped and blind. You would have never known that she was blind. The cast supported her in every move on that stage. So this one in particular, it's a comedy, but it had us dealing or really thinking more about losing a dear friend that we'd known for years or a friend with Alzheimer's. It was a hoot, but we did have a few tears when they left. And our last musical was by Steve Martin, and we employed local musicians to support this. We also always bring in artists that will either do the backdrops, do sets. They even paint props to make you think things are real. This past December was about our 17th free Christmas celebration at the Brock. The town asked us in 2009 to always provide a Christmas celebration as a free concert. It was suggested, and we've done a good job. We've gotten local people to participate, but you still have to pay them. It's a lot of work on their part. We have to pay tax. We have to pay for the cleaning. I'll go over a list of what we're now responsible for in just a minute. But here again, we highlight local artists. We've had choirs. We've had Mr. Grady McClamrock 2 or 3 times. So we do have great talent that we showcase. Let's talk about the Season of Applause. This has definitely been one thing that you can toot your horn on. These are some of the performers that we have hosted on the Brock stage, and we do a good job of getting a flavor of many types of groups, something for everyone. And we've made a lot of believers out of the Brock with the groups that we have brought in. All right, what are we talking about? Even with the community theater, with the Season of Applause, you have artist fees, and if they're worth their salt, you're going to pay pretty high dollars. We do have sleepers in our season intentionally to where it kind of equals out what you're paying some of the artists. If they're flying in, we've got to pay for the back line, but we hire a Mocksville gentleman that goes up and down the East Coast who has drum kits, bass guitars. We have to pay tech fees. and they are very picky on what they want as far as equipment that support the tax. We now pay all of the liability insurance, and that is a hefty sum because there is a stage where people can fall off. So you can imagine if your insurance has gone up, ours has too. Motel rooms, just next week, we've got 7 people we're housing for 2 nights. Food, all of your riders, that for any of the entertainers, you have to provide at least food for the night of the performance. That's just industry standard. Cleaning, we now pay each time we have an event at the Brock for the cleaning. That's $300 per event. It's a lot of space, and it's not cheap to have the area clean. Advertising, we do our best to keep advertising costs down. We've done a pretty good job. We have our own email blast. We don't do constant contact anymore. We have about 2,000 people that we send out the email blast to. We do Facebook and Enterprise, Courier, and Stroll. Staff, you got to pay staff. That is important. So our box office manager, she does a fantastic job. Here again, you get what you pay for, and we want quality. We ensure if you buy your ticket, you will be impressed with what you are given as a customer or as a patron. Also, our ticket system documents the demographics of who we bring. This is not comp seats that we've given to the artists. This is actual paid patrons who have come and spent money on a ticket. I think that is quite impressive. And the other important thing that some of the others have mentioned to you to consider, these people that are coming from other states definitely got to eat. They have got to stay in the motel, and they've got some time to kill. So they're in your stores, they're shopping. Every brochure, every flyer, every ad, every email, guess what it has on there? Mocksville. It may have Davie County because that's part of our name, but it has Mocksville, North Carolina. And a lot of people say, "Where's Mocksville?" And we say, put in your GPS, 622 North Main Street. It'll bring you right to it. So, the Hidden Gem needs your support. For years, you gave us $27,000 as support. That's the deposits on any of the performers for Season of Applause. You've cut that year after year. We are not able to be cut anymore and still bring quality performers to your town. So the old way it used to be, the county gives us the majority of the money, and you give about 20% of what it takes. We need the $27,000, and we really and truly ask you to be very considerate of what we provide here in your town. Thank you.
Thank you, Sydney. Any questions for Sydney from the board? Thank you very much. Thank you for coming tonight. You guys are free to stay if you'd like to. We've got more to talk about here. If you'd like to leave, you can. Thank you.
For that comment, I appreciate that.
Yeah, the sidekick.
Tell Kathy I said
Thank you, Jessica. Thank you, Paige.
So board, the next item on our agenda is the consent agenda. We just need a motion to approve. Motion from Justin, a second from Jenny. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? That passes. Then we move, there's no old business. Moving to our new business is to consider resolution for the Town of Mocksville application for community development block grant. Michael Walsh.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, board members. Again, this is Project Rue, formerly known as Project Rue, is now SBA Home. So we've held the public hearing. You've met that requirement. In order for us now to proceed with submitting that application to the state, we need a resolution of support adopted by this board tonight. Be happy to answer any questions you might have with that.
Any questions for Michael from the board?
I'll make a motion to adopt.
We have a motion from Justin, second from Carl. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? And then item number B.
Because these are federal funds, these funds come from HUD. There are a number of federal requirements that go with that. And one is that this package of policies, procedures, plans, resolutions, and ordinances before you are all federal documents that are required of you to have in place. We adopt these routinely. I think the last time was probably 2019, so it's been a while. So the state likes you to keep those a little bit current. So we have these for you tonight. If you have any questions, be happy to try to answer those.
Any questions for Michael?
Motion to adopt.
We have a motion from Justin, second from Jenny. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
Finally, under new business, item number C, consider Mocksville Tourism Development Authority applicant. Lynn?
A few months back, the board approved by resolution a seventh member for the Mocksville Tourism Authority Board. And the Mocksville Tourism Board is recommending Marcia Phillips as that seventh member for a one-year term.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion from Justin, a second from Carl. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? That passes. Finally, moving on to communications from town and staff. Al, did you have anything to communicate tonight?
I do not, thank you, Mayor.
Okay. Lynn?
Yes, Mayor. I do have to bring up the water main break, which is the largest I've experienced in my years of service, 18 years. I appreciate, as an interim management level, the help received from the Mocksville Town staff and Davie County staff during this emergency. Keeping the community updated is critical and challenging at the same time, and I feel like we did our best. I just wanted to say thanks to Public Works for fixing the repair as quickly as possible, and a job well done. The next thing I wanted to say was I wanted to remind everyone about the budget retreat, February the 15th at 8 a.m. across the street at the Mocksville Education Building. And I would like to invite the public, as it is an open meeting budget workshop. Thank you.
Jenny?
I really don't have anything, just thank you, Brian and your crew for working so hard on that water break. That water was crazy.
Was crazy.
It was.
Carl?
Sam, great job. A tough few days. Great job. Thank you to everybody, and great way for the municipalities to work together, county and city. And I know that was a big job. Well communicated to everybody, and I think, given the circumstances, everything went well.
I'll say the same. Thanks to Public Works. You did a great job.
I also want to thank the whole staff in Public Works, all of the employees, the town staff, does a great job.
And finally, same thing on the water break. Y'all did a great job. I would like to say, Jenny and I had the opportunity to go this past week to see the new line opened at Avgall. And there were people from all over the world in Mocksville that day, and we got to meet them. And they were very impressed with all that we have going on here. And we decided that Mocksville was the center and hub of the commerce in our universe. So it was a good day for Mocksville. And I appreciate Jenny coming to that, and just thank you to the board and Lynn for all you're doing in the interim. And I know we have some interviews lined up for tomorrow evening, correct?
That's correct.
So we'll be working on that for our next town manager. So other than that, we do need to go into closed session about acquisition of property. I just need a motion to do so.
I make a motion to enter in closed session for NCGS 143-318.11A3 and 5 to preserve the attorney-client privilege acquisition of real property.
Motion for Carl, second from Jenny. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Thanks. Just need a motion to adjourn. Motion from Carl and a second from Justin. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Y'all have a good night.